We like to be comforted by the fact that we've got much better wages these days, have we? I couldn't get the figures for Australia, maybe I should have looked a bit harder. This is the average weekly wage in the USA for workers on non-farm payrolls in constant $982. Source US Bureau of Labour Statistics. There's a Kondratieff Wave in wages. It had its peak, $315.44 in 1972. And in 1993, real wages were down 19.2%. Where's all this magic of the modern economy? Certainly we've had some recovery since 1993, but we're still down 13.8% over 1972. In talking in terms of Kondratieff, as I said, he didn't know what fashioned the Kondratieff Wave. I'm convinced that I've got the figures to show that property booms and busts fashion it, and my starting point was Australia. And in fact, I think Australia connects with proxy to the rest of the world because no other country has got figures like ours. There's the figures for South Australia, total property sales, current prices. Western Australia. The asterisk there is beside Queensland because in 1994 it had an astronomical property boom at the time when the rest of Australia was still dealing with its distress sales over the 89 debacle. Queensland went off in its time with the Asian tigers. But you can see it surpassed Victoria probably for the first time in history, and it's done it again in 2003. That was such a boom that it almost approached the property sales in 93 of New South Wales. So these figures were held in the states and territories. But no official body actually bothered to collate them. Not the Bureau of Stats, not the Treasury, not the Reserve Bank of Australia. And as director of the Australian Research Group, I thought this was a great omission, so we wanted to quantify. We got this picture. It's not an amazing picture in itself, but other things will lead from this. You can't see the Kondratieff peak in 1973 at 10.65 billion, which in its own time was massive. 1981 was also another big one, and we know that 1889 was a massive real estate peak that broke the State Bank of Victoria, Bank of South Australia, and nearly Westpac. But the main thing this graph does anyway is it shows since 1996 the Australian real estate market has gone from 75.52 billion to 231.58 billion, which is a threefold increase. But if we want to get a perspective picture, we probably need to look at the property sales numbers, which will show the real peaks and drops. And here they are. 1973, there's the peak, 651,000 sales. But each of the peaks, of course, by definition of big sales, 694,088. 2003, year after 767,000. The troughs, you've got figures like 400,000, 382,000, 475,000. Other speakers have touched upon what drives the numbers, and I'd like to put the position that over and above normal demand, we have two pathologies working. We've got the benefits endowed by the taxation system that's been touched upon by all speakers, and we've also got this herd mentality happening. People feel they've got to get in now either to make their money, or if we don't get in now, we'll just leave behind. Suddenly when the market crashes, of course, everyone's got to get out helter skelter. So we've got much more than normal demand happening, and I do agree with the other speakers. The tax system does encourage so-called investment land, which marginalises future generations of young Australians. This is where we thought it'd be a little bit clever. We said, well, we've got one national aggregate, total Australian land sales in value. Let's put it over GDP for each year. And what I would argue is that's the perfect picture of Australia's boom-bust economy. Let's prove it. In 1973 we had a massive property boom, largely driven by commercial and industrial property sales. Obviously the inflection of the line upwards to 1973 shows that real estate sales are outpacing the economy, otherwise we'd have a flattish line. But then we've got the downturn. What happened at the foot of the downturn? We'll look at that. 1974-75 was a recession. The Whitlam government was dismissed, and in the subsequent election, the swinging voter, who I'd argue voted with his pocket, confirmed the Governor-General's decision. That boom in 1973 was worldwide, I can assure you. People said it was a Kenmane period that kicked Whitlam out. But people looked around the world and saw a recession and saw other governments going up, and they thought that the Kenmane period had kicked them out. So what was it? It was the OPEC oil price. Oh, the OPEC oil price is fair enough. Everyone's seen economic history just writes out these booms time and again. The property boom, worldwide property booms of billions, trillions of dollars, just written out of history. Oh, it was OPEC, bang. Because that's nice and sexy land, it's not sexy law. You had the intermediate recovery in 1976, but it was a bit of a boom, but it wasn't major stuff. Then in 1981, that was a major boom. And at the foot of the boom, what do we have? Oh, 1982-1983. A recession, and the Fraser government was defeated. Is this starting to look suspicious? We had a massive surge up past the intermediate recovery to the 1989 peak. Everyone was in this one. That's a really one. Although it was driven by commercial and industrial, residential went along with it, and of course it had its moment down the foot too, which led to a 1992 recession. And here, the swinging voter didn't keep heading out, so this is not engraved in concrete. Mr. Houston managed to lose the unlosable election in 1993. Part of that was he couldn't explain on TV what we call the difference between a GFC on a cake and a birthday cake. And those are the sorts of things the government are made of. Here's our asterisk Queensland boom, and the end of the distress sales from the late 1980s in other states. No one who knows anything about property can claim it was a boom in those states, but Queensland had this boom of its own, as it occasionally does, and that was tied into the Asian tigers. The swinging voters eventually caught up with Keating and, in fact, the Goss Queensland government. Interesting that Wayne Goss in 1984 was voted Australia's most popular politician. Yet the voters, when there was a recession in Queensland, unceremoniously dumped him on his ear. So there's the case that the swinging voter votes with the pickpocket murder. And now, of course, we've had this massive period up to 2,000 residential peak. I'd just like to link that to Petty. Petty understood the law of rent. He knew that the capitalisation of uncollected late rent led to land price. He did know that if you capitalise a certain amount of rent, you'll have less land price. We've morphed since Petty's days into the very same taxing and landholding system that destroyed ancient Italy, ancient Rome. Pliny the Elder said that latifundia perdidere Italiam, broadly translated, greedy landed interests destroyed Italy. And we've gone from being basically a resource rent-based economy and just gradually morphed over the centuries into this very same high taxing, high land price system. I'm not saying it's going to destroy us, but I'm saying we've got there.